Hello, my friend. It's the Crypto Lunatic, the channel for crypto newbies. And today I'm going to talk about putting together your crypto portfolio. Now, look, I'll move out the way and just show you this little graph here. Now, there is a distribution on that graph of 6 different areas. Now, there's a percentage there, but you have to adjust that in accordance to your risk profile. And this is just my opinion, and this is definitely not financial advice. This is just to get your head around what a successful portfolio looks like. So the first thing before we go any further, there is Bitcoin and there is every other crypto in the market. Bitcoin is a standalone cryptocurrency. It is different to everything else. Now, this mainly comes down to the fact that it's categorized differently. It is categorized as a commodity and not a security. And what does that mean? That means that it's not subject to regulation. And the reason it's not subject to regulation is because nobody knows who owns Bitcoin and there's no apparent company behind it. And Satoshi, the mysterious Kaiser Soze type character, well, nobody can take them to court. So Bitcoin is a standalone currency and it is a store of value. And for that reason, Bitcoin is a premium asset. It's a premium asset. And not only that, it has incredible tokenomics. There's 21 million Bitcoins, and that's it. When they're gone, my friends. So Bitcoins are in a league of their own. So for that reason, the lower your risk tolerance, the more Bitcoin you want in your portfolio. Some might say you always want at least half of Bitcoin. So I've put that as one section. And Bitcoin is the premium asset. And not only that, the only time that Bitcoin shouldn't be your main asset is when we're outside, when we're in the middle of a raging bull market. All other times, Bitcoin is premium. So bear this in mind. Bitcoin is going to be the thing that you're going to want most of in your crypto portfolio, especially for most times. So let's bear that in mind. Now, Solana, I've put there. Some would put Ethereum in that place, and you could. Solana and Ethereum are very, very, very well established blockchains, and they have their own exchange traded funds like Bitcoin, which means they've got institutional adoption, they've got early mover advantage, and they've got lots of people using them and lots of value tied up within them. Personally, I prefer Solana to Ethereum because Solana has been way faster moving this in this market cycle than Ethereum. Now, Ethereum will probably go up. I fancy Solana to go up a bigger percentage, but that's just my opinion. You could have yours. So Solana is the safest. Solana and Ethereum are probably the safest, less volatile. And when I say less volatile, like in crypto, less volatile still means very volatile, but not as volatile as the lower cap coins. So Solana or Ethereum, you want a reasonable stake of that. Now, the game here is that as we go into the bull market, or when the market starts to get really pumping and gets, then most assets outperform Bitcoin. For most of the time during the 4 year cycle, Bitcoin outperforms everything else or most other assets. But when we hit the exciting times, which I believe we're about to move into, traditional investors tend to move their money outside of Bitcoin because they can make more money elsewhere. And when they've made their money, they move it back into Bitcoin. That's the game, my friends. So bear this in mind. Bitcoin is your premium asset, Solana, Ethereum, next in line. Then blockchains. Now, what layer ones, people will call them layer ones, but this is any other blockchain that isn't Bitcoin, Solana, or Ethereum. And these are things like XRP, XLM, Polkadot, Near Protocol, Sui. So I've done lots of videos talking about some of these layer ones, but you have to find your own. I'm going to show you how to find them and how to assess them briefly in this video, but you have to find your own. Now, the next section, as you see here, is profitable mid-cap coins. And we're going to go profitable low cap. So when we talk about profitable, let me show you a resource. Now, people that watch my videos will know this, but I'm going to share my screen now. So these are the cap coins. Now, bear in mind, the higher the market cap, the more money has to flood in there for it to go up in value. So Bitcoin is in a league of its own. It's insane valuation. You can see how far behind Ethereum is. And by the time you get to XRP and Solana, you're moving right down. You're only dealing with 91 billion when you get to Solana. So as you move down, they're higher risk, but potentially higher reward. Because if the same amount of money went into this as it did to this, then that would go up 3 times more in value or price wise because of the low market cap. So bear these things in mind. So when we're talking about profitable, here is our resource. We can find what's making the money. So here you can go through all of the chains. Go to chains here on DeFi Llama. And here we see active addresses, 1 day change, 7 day change, and 1 month changed. Now here are the critical things. DeFi total value locked and bridge total value locked. So these tell you the fees that are being generated. It tells you what's profitable and what isn't. Now here we see the 24-hour chain fees. Even though Ethereum is a bigger market cap, there's more fees going through on Solana, and there's even more fees going through on Tron at the moment. So Tron is making a lot of money, or a lot of fees are being charged. It doesn't necessarily mean that's all profit. We can dive into that. But here's where you assess what is actually making money. So let's look at this. We see who's making all these fees. We see Tron is high. So let's click on Tron. And here you can see the value locked, total value locked in Tron. You can see that their stablecoin market cap is 76 billion. Chain fees are 2.707 million. And the chain revenue, 2.07 million. So let's go down and look. And we see Tron Save is making 35,000 of that money. Then we see Sun is making 19,000. We see 2.4 million there. So here we are. You can see, look at their DEX volume, that's decentralized exchange. And we can look down here under Tron and we can see where the money's coming from. So revenue, Just Lend is making money. Now, I've not looked into these or Sun. You can see the fees, what's generating the money. So let's go to Solana because that's obviously a popular chain. And I talk about Solana a lot. So when we go here and we look at fees paid, we see Meteora. Look at that, 5.29 million in Meteora. Pump.fun, 2.47 million. Jupiter, 1.71 million. Now, if those of you that watch this channel, you'll know that I like Jupiter a lot because of its low cap. And let's just bring this to life. So when we're here, we're going to go here and we're going to type in Jupiter. And we'll see it's 54th. Now, we also see with Jupiter, as we talked about, we go to all here, and we see that when Jupiter started trading, it was 65 cents. And that was back in 2024. So back in January 24, and even now, look, 62, which tells me that this looks like a fairly decent coin because you've got a market cap of 1.8 billion, which is relatively tiny when we compare it to the big cap coins, but we see it's making serious money. We look on this, we see, look, Jupiter is making money down here. Oh, hang on, I've gone on to the wrong one. So we would have seen if I'd got on the right chart. So we're seeing, look, it makes 1.71 million. Now you can click on that. And here you can get your monthly revenues. And here you see that the revenue in May alone is 6.52 million. Look at this, 17 million last month, almost 20 million in March. Now, Jupiter's making serious money, millions and millions every month. That's when we say profitable, and this is how you find them, DeFi Llama. And the DeFi Llama dashboard, that's how you look for these coins. Go back to DeFi, go to overview, check whatever chain you're into. Maybe you're into BSC, who knows? Find out where the money is. Where is the profit? Look at that. It's all on PancakeSwap. And then there's a massive trip down before you get to Venus and Uniswap. But PancakeSwap is absolutely cleaning up on BSC. What about Base? Here, Uniswap cleaning up on Base. Aerodrome. So value. Now, these are how you find what is actually making the money. DeFi Llama is a fantastic, fantastic resource. Now, I talk about a lot of degen coins on here, but realistically, depending on your risk profile, they should be a very small part of your portfolio. Now, as we get into the exciting, explosive part of the market, you may want to go a little bit more degen. But I only talk about these coins because I'm assuming that people aren't going to be putting much in. And some of my friends that come to me, they're just playing with lottery money. They want the potential to buy a lottery ticket. They know they could lose everything. And if they're putting £100 here and £100 there, I tend to point them towards degen coins because of their high growth potential. But realistically, if you're putting serious money into crypto, the formula in the back is something you want to follow. And the more money you put in, the bigger allocation you want for Bitcoin, Solana, and maybe Ethereum if that's your thing. Personally, I'm not in Ethereum. My biggest position is Solana. And as the bull market moves out, I shall be moving stuff out of all of the degen coins and all of the lower cap coins and back into Bitcoin, which is the game. Taking profits is the game. The thing that will kill you in crypto is greed. And when the market's riding up, it's very tempting to think, wow, look, it's going to ride forever. And then all of the professional investors take profits and you end up with a bag that's being dumped on. So take profits, my friends. And this allocation in the background is just a guide. It's just a guide. Now, you may want to go for coins that aren't profitable, that are properly degen. But if you want to think like an investor, things like Jupiter, which are the sort of lower cap coins, but they are making big money. And you see that things like Radium, things like Orca, exchanges on Solana that make money, whether the market goes up or down for people buying and selling tokens. But that's where your risk profile comes in and your risk tolerance. And it's not for me to advise you what your risk tolerance is, but this is just an overall guide of how to navigate the crypto market. And the key areas here are depending on your risk tolerance is depending on where you want to be looking. But I would definitely suggest that you keep one eye on which cryptos are actually making money. Now, beyond that, with degen coins and lower cap coins, you may see meme coins shooting up, and meme coins have outperformed the market. So crypto is unpredictable. It is unpredictable, and I do hold some meme coins, and I've talked about them. So I release little videos here, just bringing certain projects to your awareness. But when you're putting together your crypto portfolio, these are the sort of things that you need to be thinking. And the most important thing is your security as well. As we've said before, never keep all your crypto in one space. Have multiple different wallets. For people that are new, you generally want to do work on different exchanges. Now, most advisors, influencers will tell you not your keys, not your crypto, keep your money off the exchanges. But for people that are brand new to crypto, there's certain exchanges that I believe are safer than others. And the ones that I use are Revolut, I use Binance, and I use Nexo. Now, I'm not promoting any of them. I'm not paid to promote any of them. I'm just telling you what I do. I keep all of my crypto in multiple different places, and that way there's no single point of failure because security can take a lot of people down. So bear this in mind. So what's your portfolio and what are you investing in? Let me know. Put it in the comments. And if you've got any other areas that you think that we should be looking at, then by all means post them and we'll take a look. But either way, I wish you good luck in putting your portfolio together and navigating the crypto market. Please remember to take profits and to be safe. Be safe, my friends. Never share your keys. Take your security really seriously, and you will likely have a good time on crypto. And if you've enjoyed this content, then please do like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want another one of my videos, you will find it just there.